Katy thought she was pregnant, but something a lot darker was growing inside her. Forrest Gump's mother said, "Life's like a box of chocolates. You never know which one you're gonna get." And it's funny how easily we forget the unpredictability of life and carry on like nothing bad could ever happen to us. This is precisely how Katy Smith was living her life before a medical phenomenon changed her life forever. Did Katy see this coming? The first question we ask whenever we find out someone has something huge happen to them is, were there any signs? If you were to ask Katy, she'd simply laugh. Katy was a perfectly healthy 24-year-old who liked to live her life without stirring peace. She was in love with her boyfriend, and the couple hoped that they could spend a merry lifetime together. While not skinny, Katy had always been very conscious of her figure, and her amazing curves took her a lot of time in the gym. Life was going on typically when Katy realized she was suddenly gaining weight. Crazy weight gain. Most of us are wary of how we put on a few pounds, even if we look at a hamburger with extra cheese. It's normal to slip from your routine every once in a while and gain a little weight. The story for Katy, however, was a lot more intense. She wasn't just putting on a pound a day, but was ballooning up at a rate that she could not explain to herself. Being dedicated to a healthy lifestyle that incorporated a lot of time at the gym, Katy tried to fight off the weight gain by restricting her diet and increasing the time spent working out. To her astonishment, it did not help at all. No matter what she did, the weight just kept coming on. Katy, like any average person, still shrugged it off as a bizarre yet explainable thing going on. So what if she couldn't explain it? She's not a doctor, right? And in due time, it would just go away by itself. Despite her best efforts, Katy couldn't keep her weight down, and it was starting to take a toll on the poor girl. Imagine working out and eating right, curbing all your cravings, only to find out that you're still continually gaining weight. It made less sense every day. What in the world was going on? Nothing but the belly. As the weight kept coming on, Katy realized something alarming. All the pounds she was putting on was going directly to her stomach. Now, we're not saying that she was putting on weight, but a significant portion was going to her tummy, and we're saying that all of it was going to her belly. It was a horrible situation, and no matter how Katy wrecked her brain, she couldn't figure out what was happening. The feeling of having such a massive middle was new to Katy. So what could this possibly be? She was a sexually active woman with her boyfriend, so this could be a pregnancy, but Katy wasn't sure that that was it. Maybe she's pregnant. Katy tried for the longest time to figure out what was going on with her. She had no symptoms of being pregnant apart from the protruding belly. However, at the rate she was gaining pounds, what else could it possibly be? Katy tried to push all thoughts away from herself and just focus on getting better, even a little bit. Unfortunately, the scale kept going higher, and she found herself losing. Given up, Katy decided it must be a pregnancy. There was nothing else this could be, right? She had grown up a few dress sizes and was now struggling to fit in a size 8, but that was a small price to having a baby in her mind. While pregnancy might sound like a dream come true to some people, Katy and her boyfriend were still a young couple. They were not planning on having a child anytime soon and took precautions. It was definitely a surprise that Katy was pregnant despite their caution, and they decided to double check using a pregnancy test. The nervous couple got their hands on some test kits and Katy took the test. At first, she came out negative. Katy took a hard look at the stick and then at her stomach. How could this be anything else but a pregnancy? She retook the test. After all, sometimes they give false negatives. The second test was in full agreement with the first one. Katy was not pregnant. This was around the time that Katy and her boyfriend started freaking out. They may not be medical experts, but Katy's ballooning abdomen was not going to be a pleasant surprise. While you may think that Katy should have gone to a doctor a long time ago, well, when this all started, there's something you don't know. Katy's father was a doctor, and when she was growing up, her family life gave her a strong aversion to doctors. However, at this point, she knew that her life might be in danger. The doctor shrugged her away. When Katy first went to the doctor, there were a lot of questions on her mind. Did she have a miscarriage? Does she have cancer? Is this some bizarre pregnancy that won't show up on a pregnancy test? Waiting in the doctor's office, Katy was prepared for the worst case scenario. The doctor, however, wasn't too interested in what was going on with her. He examined Katy and told her that she had put on weight because she had put on weight. He informed the poor girl that she was fat. Katy came back from the doctor's office with more questions than before. How could she possibly be gaining weight so rapidly when she's working out and monitoring every bite she eats? Should she just drop the whole thing and wait for it to go normal on its own? The doctor knows more than she does, so maybe she should trust him. 2 years of misery. Due to the doctor's lack of interest in Katy's position, she was forced to go on living like this. Had this been a pregnancy, it would be over in 9 months. However, this was not a pregnancy, as Katy's abdomen stayed in this state for the next 2 years. It is difficult to even imagine the trauma of not knowing what's going on with your body for so long. Her stomach still hadn't stopped growing. It would increase in size every month. Katy looked almost comical with skinny limbs and a huge belly. Unluckily for her, things were about to get worse. The amount of stress. Things came to a peak when Katy fainted at work. She went to work feeling perfectly fine, but as the day went on, debilitating nausea and dizziness overcame her. Katy woke up surrounded by her coworkers who told her that she had passed out. Katy went to a doctor straight away, who announced that she was distressed. Katy knew this wasn't it, but she couldn't do anything when the doctor dismissed her fears. She was forced to go back to pretending nothing was wrong. Tired of the questions. As we mentioned before, all the weight that Katy had put on went straight to her belly. While it is not good manners to ask a woman if they're pregnant, the truth is people often do ask these questions. And that is precisely what Katy was facing for the last 2 years. Acquaintances and strangers continuously assumed that she was pregnant. She had all this weight for over 2 years, so the questions just kept on coming. Katy, sick as she was, got very tired of explaining herself repeatedly to every Tom, Dick, and Harry. She told people what the doctors had told her. She was just overweight. Self-esteem takes a hit. The questions weren't the only thing that became a nuisance. Katy's increasing measurements had changed her body language completely. Her confident walk was reduced to a waddle as she struggled to find any clothes that would fit her off the rack. The clothing industry's bias against larger women was apparent to her for the first time as she found herself unable to find any cute designs. She was now shopping in the maternity section of clothing stores because everything was too tight on her belly. Enough was enough. Katy had delayed getting help for a very long time. She would have gone on dismissing herself if things didn't keep getting worse. She was now consistently having difficulty breathing, was passing out more frequently, amongst other symptoms. She went to the doctor again, only to be told that her acne problem caused her fainting episodes. While previously Katy had been able to muster up the courage to push her doctors around, enough was enough. She went to a second doctor who said she must be pregnant and did some blood work, all of which came back clean. Even though the test results clearly stated she was not pregnant, the second doctor insisted there is definitely a pregnancy. The doctor, pursued by Katy, finally did an ultrasound. While the ultrasound did show that Katy was in fact not pregnant, the situation was about to turn really bleak. Katy was growing something alright. The ultrasound revealed a sizable abnormal growth in Katy's lower abdomen. However, to identify what it actually was and how dangerous it was, doctors needed CT scans. The CT scan revealed that the mass growing inside Katy was actually an ovarian cyst. Ovarian cysts are rather common in the current female population, and doctors can identify them via ultrasounds. The only reason Katy needed a CT scan to be diagnosed was that it was so ridiculously large. Cysts of this size are just uncommon. They are practically unheard of. A harmless cyst? What are ovarian cysts? Ovarian cysts are increasingly common in females and are generally not a cause for panic. They come and go on their own time with little need for medical interruption, although the common cysts are 100 times smaller than what Katy had. Her cyst was 24 centimeters thick and entirely attached to her stomach. Even babies aren't this ginormous in their mother's wombs. While usually a doctor would not intervene with the natural progression of a cyst, this was a completely different situation. The cyst had been rapidly growing for years and did not seem to want to go away on its own. Katy was now having trouble breathing and walking, so medical intervention seemed unavoidable. The shock specialist. Katy went to a specialist to hear her options. As the specialist examined the growth, he was genuinely astounded. He was absolutely flabbergasted by the size of the cyst Katy had inside of her. It was unheard of. Even more shocking was the fact that this woman had been begging doctors to help her for years, and no one took her seriously. He regretfully informed Katy that she would be losing one ovary. It was vital to save her life. Surgery was essential to stop this from spreading further, and it needed to be done soon. Katy knew she couldn't be alone at a time like this, so she called her mother and sisters over from Australia. The giant cyst was finally removed. The surgery was meant to be 90 minutes long, but due to the absolute size of the cyst, it took doctors a full 5 hours to properly take it out. The mass weighed 60 pounds. Basically, it was 1/3 of Katy's body weight. She must have felt so light after the surgery. The entire hospital was buzzed with the medical marvel that took place. A cyst the size of 7 babies. It's finally over. Katy recovered from the surgery quickly and was delighted to find out that she could go back to her healthy life. The cyst no longer controlled her. She expressed her thankfulness to her family and friends who pushed her to take care of herself and made sure they were always around. Happiness has finally flooded her life, and the only reminder that remains of the cyst is the surgery scar. That is one strong woman.